welcome back to another Lego and Chill. Tonight we're going to start putting this one together. This is one I've had for quite a while. It's from a company that used to go by FunWhole. Yes, you heard that right, FunWhole. This is their Izakaya. I've tried to say this so many times before that I started this too. Yeah, it's set F9073. It's got 1,900 pieces in it, just under 2,000 pieces. And it's got 20 different lighting points. So today we're gonna go over the unboxing. We're gonna explain a little bit about the company and where they currently are. Not much, I don't know much about them, but I have built quite a bit of their sets already. This is a great alternative to Lego. Now, it's not perfect, but they do a pretty good job. So this set and most of the bigger ones like this do come with 2 manuals. And so the box itself is really cool. This is the stuff like all the lights and the different connections. I'll explain a little bit more as we go through. Yeah. This is how they send it. So they do it a little bit different than Lego. Like there's multiple bag numbers, but like for instance, there's multiple 1s, there's multiple 6s. So the first thing I do with these is I always just kind of break it down. So I might skip ahead on this one. So let me just get this thing organized real quick. And I'm sure you don't want to hear bags crumbling around and me talking over that as I get this organized. So I'll be right back. Let me just get this organized and we can get to this. All right, so this is everything organized in a way I can explain a little bit better. There's 10 sets of bags, but each set has multiple bags. Like 7 has 4, 1 has like 5. So depending on where we are in the build, there's different sets. So like I said, I like to organize everything. I'll put it in a box so that way it's ready. Lighting kits, all the pieces, and this. So let me get this back in the box. We'll start with the first set of bags and we can get into this thing a bit more. So I'll be right back one more time and all right, now we got all the bags organized. We got the box opened up. Start getting this thing built up. Let me show you guys what's in this box real quick. So, safety precaution, all the different bags of lights that you're gonna have, a few strips and special pieces for it. It gives you a wire so you can plug it directly into a power source, as well as a battery bank. And then it gives you a screwdriver and this really cool piece, like little tweezers. These come out, these are really helpful on getting these wires put in here. So the base always takes the longest, because we do run a lot of the important plugins for the base. So the foundation usually does take a little bit longer than traditional Lego sets because of running the wires and a few additional steps. Now I feel like it's definitely worth it for me since I do a lot of storytelling with these sets, and the different lights and everything really makes a huge difference in cinematography. You know, that's what really got me into these. The first one I did was the medieval pier, and that is now the home to my Dungeons and Dragons minifigures. So we might do a reveal later on in some other video, but for now we're gonna keep moving forward. This is their brick removal tool. Now it's very helpful and, you know, awesome, and has a little pokey thing to it, so cool having those. I still like to use the Lego one, you know, so I usually keep both just in case if I need to make any changes to anything. One really cool thing I want to talk about with this company is, I thought I saw one. All of their pieces that require like printing, they print on their bricks. So there's no stickers in any of these sets. I had a couple stickers in their older set, but typically they don't have any stickers whatsoever. So they're all printed pieces, which is pretty cool in my opinion, especially for some of the bigger walls, because, you know, that's always a challenge. I don't need to say any more about that. But yeah, so this one came with 2 big plates, and we're gonna start getting this foundation put together. Another fun thing that I like about FunWhole is they make a fun story behind everything. They kind of explain it, and I keep referencing it as FunWhole because that is what the name of the company was when they made this set. I'll go into detail more later on about, you know, the different people in my description or my review video that I'll make. But yeah, the book is they've definitely done a lot better job these days on printing everything out, and gives you directions on how the electronicals work and best to test everything out, you know, all that fun stuff. But yeah, this first book will essentially build out the first layer of this set, and then the book 2 will start stacking up. Yep, a little bit more about the electronics and different options on how that works. It does suggest to try them out first, so I'll do that off camera just to make sure the different minifigures there's that they come with. And yeah, and so this is basically the same almost as Lego. Sometimes they get a little dark, but they do a really cool job on, you know, guiding you to where everything goes, because, you know, it can get a little tricky. But as I get this thing started, so FunWhole was a company, and I tell you what, the first time I, you know, found them, you know, I laughed about that name pretty pretty hard, and everyone that I explained this alternative brick company, you know, kind of hesitated there for a second, and every single person was like, "What'd you say?" So there are options on their name. Definitely could use some improvement. And so in 2025, they understood that, and they were growing and gaining momentum, and they changed their brand name to LumiBricks. So for a second there, it was called FunWhole / LumiBricks, but now it is, their company name is officially LumiBricks. I thought it was a buyout at first, but I believe it was just a rebranding. A smart rebranding, if you ask me. Now I can call it LumiBricks and not feel weird. It's a very I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for? It's an honest, mistake. The reason why they picked FunWhole is very cute, wholesome. That's what I was trying to say. Very wholesome. But yeah. So if you ever, see these new sets coming out, they're called LumiBrick, and they are definitely gaining momentum because I see them all over the place now. I know partly because I buy them and market them, but you can see that the brand is growing and doing well. They're coming out with new sets, a lot more now than they were when I first found out who they were. So that's exciting. And then they have different series. Like this is part of the Cyberpunk. When they first came out with this, or when I first found this series, they only had this one and then an apartment complex that I already have. And it came very handy with a lot of the videos I was doing for a while. And I got this one. So I've been excited about it because they bunk up to each other and they both light up, So that's a really cool feature, is you can buy them and mod them out and they create little cities with them and everything. There's a medieval, so there's a lot of castle themes. There's like a steampunk. There's like regular houses and, so they have quite a bit of options for an upcoming company. And I remember the first one I did, I didn't know what to expect. I saw a pretty good review about it, and then I've dug into it, and I found the set that I wanted, and I did have a little challenge on the first one, with the I guess build plan, if you will, but the ones I've done afterwards have been on point. So I'm very excited about seeing this company come up. I love my Lego, don't get me wrong, but again, like the lighting, you'll see when it's all done. It really does make a pretty big difference, especially for what I'm doing with everything. And then obviously this is a very big set, so I'm not gonna document the entire thing with you guys. There are times when I'll probably speed up or cut through, jump if I get to a part that's a bit tedious and kind of requires me to focus a bit more. And then I'll probably knock a lot of this, or not a lot, but some of it out after the video ends to keep on track for part 2 and 3. But I kind of wanted to give you a breakdown of the company and the set itself. I got some fun plans ahead with this set, and so obviously check back for that. And it's gonna bunk up to the other one of these that I have, so you'll see what I'm talking about with that. But for now, we're just gonna hang out, put some Lego or alternative Lego together. I know some people are very die-hard Lego people, and I love my Lego, but ain't nothing wrong with a good alternative from time to time. Especially one with tons of potential like this. I think one of the biggest things that surprised me about these sets too were how much details in them, right? Like as we build this thing out and we get into more of the, you know, the creative aspects of these builds, I'll point them out. But like the base will be built out. They'll have things that get covered up but end up being a focal point and everything. So they do a really good job in the creativity aspect of the builds and the little details, which I think are sometimes overlooked. And I'm gonna sound a little bit like a hater right now, and I really don't mean to, but as for like Lego's new, what is it, brick, AI brick that they're making that makes sound effects and lights up and kind of looks like an eyesore, I feel like they need to do a little bit more than a little specialized brick that costs tons more money and makes things more expensive to compete with an affordability and creativity that this company is coming out with, which is good for companies in my opinion. You know, like competition's a good way to stay innovative. The instructions are really good too. So like if there's important parts, you know, they kind of zoom in and kind of highlight it in red on like you know, where they go so you can count it out. So you're not going to be able to see it very well, but these pieces that I just opened the bag up of are like specialized pieces to run wire in between bricks and essentially lock them in place, and, you know, not allow the wires to kind of like run freely, if you will, you know, and kind of like guide them. The first set I did with these didn't have this, so the next one I did and it had this. I thought this was ingenious, and yes, greatly appreciate these, because you'll see in a bit, once we start kind of running some wires, how these things lock in place. Well, I'll explain it when I do my review videos, go in more detail on that. So like, I'm gonna try to keep these videos, you know, about 60 minutes, maybe 90 if we're, you know, on a roll, but I'm gonna keep them about that segment. So like I said before, I'm gonna probably speed some of these parts up once I kind of start doing the wires, and but for the most part, it's just gonna be a direct build and kind of just things I really like about stuff. And sorry, I'm rambling a bit. Let's get back to the build. Yeah, so like this one, for instance, it's very particular how these needs to go into it, and they have a little zoom in on how to make sure you have it in there. You know, attention to detail. Can't go wrong with that. These sets do take a bit of time. not only do they have a ton of pictures and details and, you know, moving parts. Oops. They like I said, just making sure where you need to put everything for the wires to run correctly and figuring that out. I've definitely ran into a couple issues with it being too short, or me running it the wrong spot and then having to like go backwards, which is like every other leg, like every, you know, build out there. But you know, adding some wires in that, you know, definitely adds a different element to it. But for me, I enjoy it. I do not mix my Lego pieces with these. You know, I do try to keep my sets separated. There is something I do not like about these sets. I'm not gonna say it. I'm just kind of dropping a, what's I'm looking for, a hint, an Easter egg for later on. But after doing a few of these, there's not very many things that I dislike at all. When I first got back into Lego, before I, you know, allowed myself to buy a huge set from Lego, I was still, you know, 60, 80, 100 bucks, you know. It was about as much as I was willing to spend. And that's one reason why I got into this set, because this set costed me, I think it was about $110. I got it on sale on like Black Friday or something. You know, they have quite a bit of sales, especially back a year or 2 years ago when I first found it. Amazon had these things always 30% off, 40% off. Now that they've changed their name and got bigger, you don't see that as often, but that's fine. Still under what, 150, under $200 for 2,000 pieces, a lighting kit. How do you argue that, you know? Again, I am not trying to sound like a hater. I do love my Lego, but you know, Stranger Things, 300 bucks I think it was. Very cool design. And it's got to pay for all the, you know, licensing and all that. I understand that. But even like all the Star Wars stuff, you know, just so overpriced. Well, I don't want to say overpriced, but just, you know, it's not as easy to talk yourself into buying $300, $400, $500 set. You know, like I bought the Lions King Castle, $400 bucks. Got the Lord of the Rings set. That thing, I think, was $500. You know, so they're a little bit, these are a little bit smaller than those big sets that they got, but just a little, my 2 cents. Alright, so we're gonna get into our first wire here, so I can open up one of these up and show you what they look like. So each bag has assorted of different wire sets, and so you're just gonna have to look at what it is, and for the most part they're different enough where you can figure it out fairly easy. So I might have a hard time focusing on this, but this is what the individual wire thing looks like for, and then each one's different, right? So I don't know if it's gonna focus on this or not, but you know, it's got the light right there, and then here's like a little charge port that connects, and then a little sticker for another charge port. So this one doesn't actually have a lot of light on it. It's just more like a relay for others to plug into later on. And it does its best to kind of guide you on the best way to run the wire, but you just kind of have to do your best. Sometimes it doesn't look as obvious as it probably could be. So remember I was saying, like the lock-in ones, you got the wire, you got this special lock-in piece that has little indentions and stuff, so that way the wires don't pinch too bad. And this is where this is that part where I was saying it takes just a little bit more time sometimes in some of these parts, because I could snap it right in and not care, but then, you know, issues later on. So just want to make sure you get that in there, not cinching any wires, kind of tug, kind of not, you know, be smart with it. That's why it is, what, 16 plus, you know, definitely not something your 5-year-old will probably do, but and it has some of these specialized plate bricks so that you can stick some of the connectors to them and give everything space. So everything's very thought out, very nice. I've gotten better at it too over the years. Oh, that's what it's telling me to do. Yeah, so like for instance, that me like trying to figure that out. Just gonna have to use your little brain power to process what it's trying to tell you. And then you'll be like, oh, duh. That's what you're trying to get me to do. So yeah, it looks like this is going to be the part where like other sets can bump into this one and connect, and the power will move on. Whoops, I missed this step. I got to talking about the specialized piece and glazed over a step. This is one of those moments where I'm pretty sure this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And hope in 4 or 5 steps I don't have to take this apart. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. All right, before I close this up all the way, so as you can see, this is going to be one of the main wires that, like I said, it's a connection point. And it starts for here, it tells me to go there, run the wires underneath this bad boy, which comes under here. It goes in that separator brick, so that way I can have one come over here, which is a light, and then the rest of it comes over here as another connector. And then a piggyback on that. And so now that you got that all taken care of, we're gonna most likely start covering up the base to this thing and lock those wires underneath so they don't move around as much, or don't get in the way. Move around, don't get in the way as much. So that's gonna go here, and then this. One, oh, 2. Okay, so here. Tell you what, people who create their own builds are very impressive. If any of you guys are watching this have never heard of the Brick Link competition that Lego does, I highly suggest you check it out. They come up with basically people come up with their own build ideas, and then everyone votes on them, and if you win, Lego makes that set for you. And the people who make the sets or come up with the ideas, they make a ton of money off of it too. But yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. What I'm getting at is master builders. Lots of respect to the master builders. And then in the comments, if you guys are watching, or obviously you're watching if you're hearing this, have you ever done one of these alternative build bricks? If so, what one did you do? Did you like it? I'd love to hear what your thoughts on everything were for your experience. Another light wire set. So if you guys do decide to do one of these, it might look a little tedious right now to start off with, and it is, but once we get this foundation set, it gets, more into the traditional builds most of y'all probably more familiar with. Kind of reminds me if you're building like a mod plate for your build, but this is like a very well thought out mod plate with wires and connections to build on top of. Which I think is another really cool aspect of LumiBricks, because some of the bigger sets sometimes with Lego is just like a little plate underneath and kind of flimsy, all these bigger ones that I've done with these all have a very good foundation on them, so like you can pick it up and move it, without it feeling like it's gonna fall apart on you, which kind of big deal for a big set and put all these hours to it, Where did I put this? Oh, there's supposed to be two of them too. Okay, and then go over here. What I think I'm gonna do with this first video is probably gonna jump cut a few different spots. These series I don't plan on doing a ton of video editing with them. You know, the whole point of it is to just chill and have a good time making some Legos with my friends. But I do want to showcase a little bit more than what I have so far with these sets, because then video 2 and 3 is going to get a little long, maybe, because I'm only planning on doing 3 videos for this set. So you're going to have to come back for part 2 and part 3. But like I said, I kind of want to get into a bit of bag 2 or set of bag 2 and 3. At least showcase it a little bit, since we got 10 of them. It'd be best to break it into, you know, 3s. But I'm very excited that you guys are following along and hanging out with me. It's been fun. Oh, okay, I see. All right, so and I'll show in a little bit more detail later on too. But this is the little box. You turn it on and off. So you'll either plug in directly into the like a wall charger or the battery box. It goes into here. This turns the set on and off, and then it has 3 outlets, which are, like I said, those relays that we were kind of getting into in the beginning here. One thing that's kind of hard about these sets too, you'll get used to it after you do it a couple, but knowing what direction these things plug into, they're really small. So sometimes you're just kind of like, is it going in? Oh, there it goes. Alright, so I think we got all the wires ran. Oh. And I think this next rest of this bag is basically gonna be the covering up the floor to everything here. Get everything leveled out. I just realized I didn't show you guys how the other wires are ran, but I think you can kind of figure it out. But I'm very excited about getting this set built. I have been thinking about it for quite some time now. Life just kept lifing on me, so you know how that goes. Alright, so like I said, I wanted to show you guys a little bit more. We're at our hour mark, but I'm going to continue moving forward. I was just off by one piece for this little guy, so not a big deal. Got that all adjusted. Everything's right in the world. Move forward. Oof. All right. What the heck? This is going to take me a second to figure out, so I'm going to go ahead and probably zip past this with you guys too. So it's just wire diagram. I'm going to go ahead and put my little thinking hat on real quick and figure out what it's telling me to do here. All right, so there's one thing that I kind of want to point out that I do run into from time to time. I'm going to continue moving forward and seeing how this works out and stay positive, but the wire, the way they have this diagrammed out, this is closer to this one and this part of the wire is longer. I'm fearing that it might be too short, which is going to cause me issues later on, because this thing stretches all the way out to over here on the book, but I can't go any further back. So it tells me to stretch this out kind of far, but I'm gonna need as much of this as I can get. So I'm gonna plug it in and hope for the best. Alright, yep, just getting these last little bit of foundational pieces on here. And I'll show you what bag one looks like when it's all completed. But for the most part, everything's been moving forward very smoothly. Only had a couple little minor hiccups. These three, and then All right. Boom, boom. So we got the first set of bags done. This is the plate. There are a few hanging wires everywhere, some connector points that we've added, the little thing that turns it on and off, and how it all connects. But yeah, everything is kind of underneath. And so this is the foundation. Looks like bag 2 is going to be the start to the ramen cafe. And so I'll get that all squared away. I'm going to check on the camera real quick, and then we'll get bag 2 built, and I'll probably let you guys enjoy the rest of your Friday night after that. Got a little bit of extra parts left, or pieces left over. I'd like to just throw these things off to the side for now, in case I lose something. One thing I'm very excited about with this company is how much they rolled out new sets recently, especially this Cyberpunk series, because the first one I did was a little over a year ago in this series for this company, and they really didn't have much left over, or they didn't really have much else. I mean, they had this one and I finally bought it. But this is a little bit different than the other one. You'll see later on when I put them next to each other. And then they finally came out with, I think, 2 or 3 more new Cyberpunk sets and buildings that go along with the other one. And so they all bunk up to each other, and I'm very excited about it. But remember what I was saying about the prints? So, you know, everything... a ton of pieces that have, you know, prints already on it, and yeah, cost the company a little bit of money, but I sure do appreciate it in the detail and not having to worry about getting them on and saving a ton of time with stickers. All right. Let's get this going again. They do have very cool colors in their bricks too. Like, I mean, I know Lego does too, but I'm just saying, like, I like the quality, you know. Boom. Okay. Alright, so it goes up this. And the one thing you'll learn too is like with some of these pieces, there's a little bit of extra wire. So what I've done is kind of like wrap it around the piece. Oh shoot. There we go. Wrap it around the piece so that it gets snug, so there's not, you know, extra wire. It's up to you. I got OCD, so, and I kind of know that that wire is good to go. It's a little lantern thing that shines down, so no need to stress about that at all. It's going to come back right here. All right, another tip with these is, I was saying it earlier where I thought this one was going to be too short, right? And I ran into another one right now where the diagram is telling me to push it further out. Like it's going to, like this piece is going to be able to come out like this far, but it's not. So I just double checked just to make sure that like where this piece is going to end up going. So eventually it's going to end up coming back over here. So it doesn't matter that it looks like it's too short on the diagram. So if you get one of these sets and you're doing it and you're like, hey, this isn't doing what the book is telling me it's going to do, you know, maybe either flip forward a few pages just to kind of see where it's going to end up. And that way you don't have to stress about it not fitting. Or just say heck with it and trust the process. Because so far I haven't ran into any issues with following the directions and things working out. There's been a couple times where I've had something, you know, off a little bit and things didn't line up, and so you have to like double check that, which is why I jumped forward a few pages just to make sure that I didn't do something short underneath. But yeah, that would be my suggestion when you run into one of those situations. And I'm not the quickest builder when it comes to Lego in general. I'm gonna guess this is gonna take me 3 days to do. I'm hoping to be able to break it down in 3 days. Depends on how much my back is willing to go. So yeah, this will be my weekend plans. And again, I do plan on breaking this into a 3-part series. Just a fair warning. So you're gonna have to come back and hang out with me again next Friday for part 2 of this. And I'll get into a full-on detailed review after I build it out and go into the specifics when I'm not trying to talk and build and do everything at the same time. Sure, it's been nice to have you guys along with me. And I do have quite a few of these sets backlogged. I have a bamboo house after LumiBricks, after the name changed to LumiBricks, and then I have a castle gate when it was still FunWhole as well to go along with some of my castle stuff. This one comes into place. Looks like this, right? Nope, nope. Like this. Gotta love those small pieces where you just, for some reason, your brain just looks right past them. There they are. Blues and grays, you know, I'm thinking I'm looking for a gray piece and really like a weird blue piece, and the shades can be a little funky sometimes with these sets, where especially with the grays and the blues and the dark grays, sometimes you're looking at the book and you grab a gray and it's supposed to be a dark gray, or vice versa. It's gotten better, but yeah, they do have a little part in the beginning of the book of the shades, which I think is cool, you know. So kind of get an idea. You don't really want to go, you know, flipping back to the front all the time, you know, obviously, but there's the additional 30 minutes that I put onto this. So I'm gonna keep recording and keep going with this, because I do believe I'm gonna fast forward through a few of these spots. That way I can at least get the first 2 bags set for this first video, and then I'll probably just continue off screen and keep us on track. Oh, that's it. That's why. Okay. And then just kind of showcase what I did. So yeah, all the different details, right? It's got these little magazines or menus, I mean. You guys have any fun plans for the weekend? Would love to hear what you guys got going on. Pretty simple one for me. Gonna hang out with my brother tomorrow. Have some dinner. Hit some golf balls. Got a little hitting net set up on the side of my house. Probably do that. And Sunday, not too much. Missing football. So now I gotta figure out what to do with my Sundays. Obviously gonna take the dogs for a walk. And the basics. Been pretty warm where we've been lately for some reason. It's not very, it's weird weather, to say the least. But it's kind of cold right now, so probably do some stuff in the house. Lego, shoot videos. Alright, so this one is, yeah. Two of those. Bam, bam. Oh, I see what it's going to do. Okay. Oops. This is a really cool piece. It's clear, it's got the ramen printed on it. Very cool detail. On the right side, yeah. So this is an interesting little build structure. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, no, it's there. Oh, so that just goes into that like that. So there's a little gap. Okay. Overthinking things. Okay. Okay. Ching. On top. Got a little brick. Some green, white, this thing. Little order window for the cup of ramen. Boom, boom. There. Oh, I see. It's like a ramen dispenser. That's cool. Want a ramen dispenser? I made some pretty bomb ramen the other night for Chinese New Year, so I can get my noodles in. Where's this little hat? There it is. Boom, ramen dispenser. Okay. Ching. Almost there with this set of bag 2. And then all the utensils, you know, for the ramen shop. Pretty cool. It looks like the rest of the stuff is going to be just little miscellaneous things, kind of tedious. So I may speed through this part and just focus on getting this part of the set squared away. And once I have that situated and it's all done, I'll show you what this thing looks like. I want to keep your curiosity about the lights, so I'm not going to plug anything in. I want to have like a grand reveal, if you will. So if you want to see what it looks like when the lights are on, and come back at the end of part 3 and, or what am I saying? Come back next week so you can see what that looks like and follow along. Next time, bring your own set and you can build and I'll build and, you know, have a little fun. Oh, that's cool. It's a printed set. It's like a, you know, the bowl of ramen. Like I said, these sets have tons of cool detail to them. Well, we are just about done with this set of bags as well. As we come down to the final little bit, I do want to say thank you for joining me for another Friday night build. Well, actually this is the first Friday night build. The other one was, I think, what, Tuesday? But yeah, part 2 will come out next week. I'm going to go ahead and probably do bag 3. I mean, the set of bag 3 and maybe bag 4, depending on how I feel by the end of it all. I was afraid something like this is gonna happen. This set of wires, I did something funky, and one's just a little bit longer than the other, so I didn't like cinch it right somewhere. So it's giving me some issues, but not gonna be that big a deal. Just a little OCD. Yeah, once it gets all tucked in, it ain't gonna matter anyways. Okay. But yeah, so I'll get a little head start, so next time we can focus a little bit more on the details and all that fun jazz. The big thing with these sets are, like I said, it's just building out the foundation. Once you got that taken care of and you kind of get their wires ran, things fall apart, and then you'll need to run some more wires, and slows you down a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's really not that big a deal if you ask me. I pretty much enjoy it. I've done I have a Hocus Pocus Lego set, and then I bought one of those aftermarket like lighting kits for it. And to be honest, I didn't buy, the most expensive one. There's, different ones you can get, and I got the medium tier of what I found, and it's not the same. It's not the same. But man, so I did run into my first dilemma. See if I can figure out how to fix this thing real quick. Essentially, the wire is just a tiny bit too short, and I don't think that I'm gonna get much give. So that's all in there already. Oh no, that's there because of that. So unfortunately on this one, I think I'm just gonna have it hang next to it. It's gonna give the same thing because I'm not gonna be able to connect it and turn it and all that. It's shit. So I'm gonna make it look it's like it's just broken or something. I really don't want to tear down the whole bottom. I'm just going to let it be. Not everything's perfect. Sometimes, you know, there's happy accidents like Bob Ross said. I'm not gonna let it get to me too much there. Just kind of go with the flow. But it is definitely if you're watching this and you're kind of tagging along when it comes to everything, it's a learning thing for sure. It's important to make sure you have as much give as you can get with these wires, because sometimes that does happen. I really wish that I could figure out where they get these wires from and make my own little custom sets, you know. But for the meantime, this is what we got. So, looks like I gotta go back real quick before I say goodbye. And oh, that's where it was at. Okay, never mind. I forgot to put these on earlier. All right, that, and that. Okay, because that goes in there. Gotcha. All right, a couple little extra pieces. No big deal. I really don't think I'm missing anything else. Just give me just a quick second. Double check. One piece I have left over. Just want to make sure I didn't miss something. Yep, just an extra piece. All right, so yes, we got through the foundation, which I wanted to do, and a little bit of detail. So there's a little ramen order stand, it looks like, or at least a little like a quick ramen thing, and then another little opening. So yeah, that's this first 2 sets of bags. I'm gonna do a little bit more. I'm not gonna do a ton more, but I am gonna do a little bit more tonight, so that way next week we got a nice head start to everything. But I want to say thank you very much again for hanging out with me while we got this together. We have, well, I think there was 10 sets of bags. The 10th bag, there was only one. And so there's really only like 9 like true sets of bags. So thanks again. I look forward to seeing you guys next time, and until next week, talk later.